one thing that our program is nationally known for is that we have projects across all 4 years of the curriculum. So we produce project-ready engineers. So now I'd like to hear from all of our panelists about a specific project that influenced you and how it impacted you. And so let's start with Andrea and go in reverse order now.
So an interesting project that influenced me was the bike design project, the second year of engineering. The reason that one really struck me was that, as I said, I'm really into design, and that was my first experience with the design process in a more long-term project. So that project is over 1 year, and you get to work with a group for a year on designing a bike. And it was my first exposure to really extended design process. So really making sure that you are satisfying the needs of the client and making sure that when their needs change, you're kind of adapting to them. And then also throughout building the bike, tweaking what you need to tweak in order to overcome the challenges that you might face, and then testing it. And so it was really interesting for me to go through that whole process over a year.
For me, the most influential project that I have done throughout my JMU career was my spring semester freshman year in the Engineering 112 class. We were set up to create a musical instrument for students of a local school with specialized capabilities. And for me, this was the first time that I got to build and design something for someone else. Everything that I had done beforehand was for whatever extracurriculars I was doing or just to tinker around, but I really felt the impact that I could make for somebody else by doing a project like this. And it was the first time I got to meet with the client in the setting, see what things they liked, things that they didn't like, and really tailor what I was making for them to be something that they thoroughly enjoyed and would want to use in the future. And I think that has changed my outlook on engineering as a whole. It became something that tools that I can use to impact other people's lives. And it's had a major impact on where I want to go in engineering for sure.
An influential project that I have done, it was my senior capstone. I was able to actually propose the capstone going into my junior year with the help with Dr. Noggle on bio-inspired design. We decided to enter the Biomimicry Global Design Challenge, which the topic was just climate change. So we really were able to narrow down what climate change meant to us and how we wanted to tackle the problem. And it taught me a lot about engineering and how it's not just solving equations and putting things together. There's a lot more to look at, like research and understanding your problem and how to narrow down a problem. It really taught me to think critically and always be learning about something new.
I mentioned my capstone project, building a efficient vehicle. That project has been extremely influential on my career at JMU and the future. But this project ultimately involved like every aspect of a real engineering project, in my opinion, from budgeting money to managing people. I ended up being the team leader of 10 other engineering students, and not because I knew the most about automotive engineering at all, but because we actually take the vehicle to California each year, and having to handle all the logistics of sending the car out there and sending 10 people out there, things like that, and then managing our team was broken into 3 sub-teams, was a lot of project management skills that I learned from it, not only like mechanical engineering skills. And it also was cool because I have a business minor, which I could integrate some of those things that I learned into this project as well. So this project kind of, the fact that it is 2 years long for everyone, you see a lot of different aspects to a project you might see in the real world.
So for the attendees, what we heard there was that there was a project mentioned in all years of the curriculum. Jojo mentioned the first year, Andrea mentioned the second year, Elizabeth and Lindsay mentioned the third and fourth years. So you really span of the projects throughout the curriculum. And so I heard hints of all of you talking about the skills you learned through these projects, but could you very briefly just list a couple of the key skills that you learned in these projects that you mentioned?
So I think one of the most important things I learned was how to work on a team. Since I mentioned that was the first time that we had like an extended project, and how to communicate with a team, relatively large team. I also learned how to build a bike. I learned how to use the machine shops tools and how to ask questions to a client to get answers that you need. Because sometimes if you don't ask good questions, you're not going to get good answers.
There's a lot of the soft skills and the people skills that we learn throughout all the projects. I think teamwork and communication have been one of the largest things that I wouldn't say I necessarily have learned, since I did a lot of team-oriented projects beforehand, but it's a type of skill that the more practice that you get with it, the easier it becomes, especially you're not going to like everyone that you're working with all the time. Everyone in the engineering program is very friendly, but that doesn't mean they need to be your best friends all the time. And getting a chance to work with people that you aren't necessarily friends with has been a great growing point for me, since it challenges you to think differently and creatively and to get past certain roadblocks. I think that's been one of the largest skills that has come about through all the team-oriented projects. And another concern I know people have with these types of projects is that you're not getting as many technical skills, but the lists go on and on for every single project. I've learned how to do proper research, how to write up technical reports, how to do material testing plans, and beyond from even there. So with every project, it's what you make of it. So I have a long list of skills that I've learned from all of these things that I'm able to give to employers or other people that have been really built into my education.
For me specifically, on our capstone team, I'm on a team of 6 people. It's a great size for a team, not too many, not too little. And I took on the role as team liaison. So I was the main communication between our advisor and the team, and the professor of our design class and our team. And I learned a lot of communication skills through that. How to send a proper email, different things like that. And then I kind of, since I proposed the project, I took on this sort of leadership role, not necessarily for the project, but more just for the team in general. And our team had very different abilities on it. And the benefits of a 2-year capstone is really getting to know each one of those people and what their strengths and what their weaknesses are. And then also one of my favorite things about a 2-year capstone is learning how to make a plan and how to manage your time. It's a lot more difficult when you have 2 years than just a semester to do a project. You have to be able to understand what type of work you can actually get done in 2 years and what you can't. So those are some of the things that I learned from my capstone.
I learned of cool technical things, like even just welding and soldering, and then together electrical systems and implementing sensors onto the car. A lot about the engine, how to tune it, how to 3D print parts for it, things like that. Just so so cool. And then on the other side of the spectrum, like Jojo said, technical writing, that's something you're going to take with you all the time. Professional emails, like Lizzie mentioned, things like that go a long way. Even just preparing for weekly meetings with my advisors, having something to deliver each week just to keep track of yourself and hold yourself accountable, and then even being able to try to hold your teammates accountable in a respectful way and things like that. So you kind of get a full spectrum, or at least I have in my project.